fix it. I had phantom power off the other day. That should have fixed it. Excellent. What is everybody doing this evening? How is everybody doing this evening? Sweet, sweet. Let some other people join in. I have something that I want to talk about before we continue. What's up, Artie? Welcome on in. Glad you're awake. For my sake, I don't know about for yours. If you're awake all the way over there, is that a good thing? Oh, by the way, the Master of Possession is coming along incredible. I've been keeping up with it. A tad quiet. Let me... manage some adjustments here. Give me 1 sec. Let's see. We'll find here. Oh, wait. I might know what the problem is. Hold on. How about now? A little better? I think we're good. All right. Got me to keep you company while working on your Templars? Awesome. I'm going to be doing something in a similar vein. Not as the Templars, but Space Marines. Last week of my internship, had to buy a new car battery. Ugh. Filling out internship scholarship applications. Late night editing. See the OSL in the next couple days. I'm excited. I like watching you grow in your OSL. You're better than me, but you also have an airbrush, which helps. Hold on. Wait a minute. I can't claim that. First of all, you use all Citadel things. I don't. Everything I have in front of me is Vallejo except for my washes. And my Blood for the Blood God and Brave Book. Oh, and my Imperial Fist, which I will be using this evening. Hopefully. Music is loud. I can fix that. How's that? A little more manageable? I don't know what's wrong with my levels. They're all over the place since I last streamed. Subzac Storm. Painting some Space Marines this evening. The music is dope. Darktide knows how to do it. Is it Jesper Kidd? I think he's the one who did the score. All right. So, since there are some people here now, hold on. Okay. Since there are some people here now, I was going to share with you guys what I've been doing here recently. I have been working on a little bit of creative writing. I've been working on a short story about the Angels of Sorrow and Gardor as it stands. A little bit from the perspective of the Alperin Guard, who are the Militarum Regiment who are stationed there because they are in the Alperin system. Jesper Kidd is one of my favorite composers. He's up there. I believe he did the Assassin's Creed soundtrack too. Howdy, 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 howdy. My Americanism is coming through for anyone who is not American. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm working on, and I'm working on the perspective of Guard perceiving Space Marines for the first time, because I just wrote a scene where Space Marines just dropped from orbit, and yeah, it's been kind of fun. So we'll see if anything comes out of it. I'm sorry, Artie, that I haven't gotten you that script. Life has been a little hectic, and I've been working 12-hour days. So I'm looking forward to not doing that. But that won't be anytime soon. So we're going to spend the next few hours painting here and doing our thing. I'm also drinking tea because I've had a sore throat all day. For some reason. Can't know that. You're not going anywhere. I've had you in the back of my mind. I have an idea of what I want to do. I just haven't nailed it down yet. Okay. So that's the main thing I want to discuss. I am almost finished with this Death Company Intercessor. I need to finish the base, and I think that's it. Yeah, that's all I had to do. I got the base coats down for the base early this morning before I left for work. And so now all I have to do is do a little bit of dry brushing and paint the rim, and it will be done. And then I had a couple options for you. Might just be the Gene Stealer nonsense in the back of your mind. Totally not the multi-armed Emperor. I have questions, but I don't know if I want the answers. Because I would prefer not to be flesh soup. That would be ideal if that did not happen. So, anyway, dry brushing. So I'm going to do a slight gradient to show off the snow and the ice. Broke the arm on my lieutenant. Only just realized how badly I mangled his wrist with glue. Ugh. I hate that. I hate that. Because that's happened to me, and it just ruins everything. Ruins your whole day. And then, after we finish this boy, I have a couple options for you guys. to choose what I'm going to paint. As soon as I get these colors mixed. That'll work. Just a little bit of dry gradient. I should have done it before I painted the metal, but it's okay. It'll look fine in the end. Because once it's all covered in white, it'll blend together. Very, very subtle. I feel like Bob Ross right now. Happy little ice chunks. Just trying to take down the intensity of the dark blue. And then just show a little bit of weathering. Now for the pure white. It is a great blue, isn't it? It's Vallejo Model Color Deep Sky Blue. It looks gorgeous. I would almost be tempted to paint a marine chapter that color. Come to think of it, I'm not sure there are any light blue marine chapters. There's the Emperor's Spears are kind of a light blue. I think that's right. I can go a little heavier with the white. Get it on his boots and stuff. Weather them a little bit. And it looked great over the gunmetal. Makes it look cold, which is what I'm going for. Very, very cold. Which, ironically, is one of the things I hate in life, is being cold. But I live in the wrong part of the world. Alright, I think that'll do. What about anyone else? Is anyone else working on anything this evening? Anything they'd like to share? Love the cold. 315 inches sounds like hell. Cold hell. It sounds awful. But most of me is saying that because I have to work in it. So it doesn't make it ideal. Editing your gaming channel? Nice, easy one. I enjoy editing gaming videos. When I have time, my last one that I did relatively well on this channel. Back when I was still trying to find my niche. I thought I was a gamer, but I ended up doing a short part of Baldur's Gate 3, which everyone who I was playing with has been begging for another part, and that was about 2 years ago. Facing 5 intercessors, a lieutenant, and then airbrushing them, plus a ballistas. You've got a little more on your plate than I do. Call it Valhalla or Fenris, because it's probably about the same level of cold. Yeah, the cold and I just don't get along. But yeah, we did one part of the Baldur's Gate 3. And I'd like to do more, but I just don't have the time. Especially since that was before I acquired this hobby. And this hobby has saturated all of my time. Love Baldur's Gate 3. Was playing some with my girlfriend just earlier today. It's a fantastic game. I think I have like 8 to 10 different characters, and I've only beaten the game like 2 or 3 times. But I'm also kind of a D&D nut. Again, I was until I discovered this hobby. Alright, so here is our Angels of Sorrow, Death Company, Intercessor. I believe that is 5 out of 10 that I have painted now. Just gonna get to focus. Lighting's not too great. It looks pretty sweet. I need to get a chaplain to lead them. It's no secret that mini painting is a money sink, but many folks outside the hobby don't realize how much of a time sink it is too. No kidding. I bet, well, this dude alone, I just started him yesterday. And I think I spent 2 or 3 hours getting up to just the base coats. And then this morning I did the washes, and I put the base coat down on the base, and that took about 30 minutes or so. And yeah, just what you've seen me finish here. So we're looking at about 4 hours for this one dude. It's a lot. I don't know. Do you guys think I should go ahead and showcase the 5 that I have? Start building my Rogaldorn tank close to 2 months ago. It's been yet to be finished. Well, thanks. I appreciate it. It's very simple. Very simple. Just a black base coat, dark gray dry brush, and then go in and do all the details, and then, excuse me, put a wash over the details. Showcase. Well, do we want to start with a live showcase? And then maybe I'll do a post or a video, or maybe a short of the 5. Question for you. Are you a fan of beer at all? I like light beer, because I'm not cultured at all. I live in the Midwest. I'm a farm kid. So cheap beer is where it's at for me. Raincloud, welcome. We just finished another Death Company Intercessor, and Artie has requested that I do a showcase. So I'm going to do a live showcase, and then I may or may not do a post or a short. We'll see. Because there's supposed to be a squad of 10, but I really need to start pushing out more content, so I feel like I need to do more whips. Special folks live, and then do a video. Light beers. Fan of Blue Moon? Not really. I'm kind of a Coors Light guy, not gonna lie. Just in time? Precisely. Because we finished him. Oh, I need to do the blood splatter. All of my Death Company have blood splatters on them, so I'm gonna do that. Good old blood for the blood god. And then once we finish that, I hate the shield. This is what I use for my blood splatter shielding to keep it off of everything. Still gets all over my desk, but it is what it is. Coors Light. Should be working on content myself. Depression says no. I was gonna do more today. I still have a video to edit, but I haven't made it that far. Yeah, blood splatter. Alright, so this blood for the blood god hasn't been used for a little while. Let's see if I can remember how to do it. Let's be a little heavier. There we go. Oh, it's good. Let's go. Ah, I'm getting it everywhere. It's fine. Second rushed statement. Burnout is real. Rank. No one is requiring you to make content. Do it for yourself. Take care of yourself. So, on that note, I was having a brief conversation with Black Star Minis because I just listened to his episode of the podcast he was on, Paint Perspective from Siege Studios, and so I DM'd him on Instagram and we had a brief conversation, and he was kind of giving me a little bit of advice. He was telling me to put out my whips, so not just do finished models, because I have a really bad problem with wanting to wait until I get a unit done before I put it up anywhere. And he was like, just go ahead and do it. And I was like, oh, okay. But he was also like, don't worry about the burnout, because if you feel like you have to do it, then that takes away from it. Because for me, all I have to do is record my journey. And that's something that's what you do too. And that's one of the reasons I love your content, is because we're watching you as you progress. And it's in short form content, so it's a lot easier to consume. But yeah, that was just a little bit of his insight, and I appreciated that. Yes, I do splatter it. It makes it look more organic. Try literally putting on some blood god paint in my mouth and spitting it at the model. It actually worked really well. It just tasted okay. So a little tip I got from the manager at my nearest Warhammer store, because I had told him the last time I was there that I had recently gotten my first pot, Blood for the Blood God. He said, I don't know if I have it. Oh, I do. He said to take these little plastic tips that come on new brushes, and he said to just dip it in some of that and then use that to blow it on. I tried that and it didn't shotgun the way I wanted, but I think I got it too thick. But it was really insightful. I think I tried it on one of my World Eaters, and it was a little too thick, and I haven't tried it since. I should try it again. But yeah, if that's something you want to try, so you don't have to literally consume it and possibly poison yourself. Could you do the same with brown dirt or mud? You could. I know there's some technical paints out there that you could do it with. The reason you want to do it with Blood for the Blood God is because it has like almost a resin texture in it, and it ends up drying super glossy, which looks really sweet. But I don't know, I've never tried it on mud and stuff. I've only ever dry brushed mud because I kind of like the way that looks. Seems he and I are on similar minds on it. Apparently so. Makes sense. Much more sense than actually putting it in one's face. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, if you were a Blood Angel, it would make more sense, but you are anti-Blood Angels, so that wouldn't make any sense. So it's paint made just for blood splatter. Yeah, it's a technical paint from Citadel, so it's literally just made to simulate blood. So any models that I have that have blood on them, that's what I use. Particularly my World Eaters and these Death Company that I'm about to showcase here. Alright, so the very first one I painted was this one here. I don't know if his colors will shine through very well. Get adequate lighting here. Let me adjust the lighting actually. See if that helps. Oh, that does help. You guys don't just use the runoff from actual cuts. You know, you could. So yeah, this is the first one I did. Again, blood splatter. I used some that I brushed onto the tip of his knife. So yeah, pretty proud of how he turned out. He was my first one. My second one, I believe, was this one. And I went for the Death Company X on the helmet, which I'm kind of proud of how he turned out. Focusing, get it to focus. Used it to make a blood river on a base recently. It's such a cool, unique paint. Yeah, I love it. So yeah, there's this dude. Got the paint splatter on him, or the blood splatter. Looks good. Then I did this one. Another one wielding a knife. Got the X's on him. Pretty proud of him. And my most recent one before the one I just finished was this one with the grenade launcher, which is something you can take with your Death Company. So your Raging Marines trying to kill Horus are trying to shoot grenades at him. Oh, you like the... Let's see, which one are we talking about? The one with the X? Yeah, I think it looks pretty sweet. I try to make my X's relatively random, so long as it's on the right pauldron and then somewhere else on their body. And yeah, a couple of them. I put it on the shin plate, which I think looks kind of cool. In retrospect, I probably should have gone a little thicker on the lines on this one. This is the one I just finished. Grenades? Yes, please. Giving grenade launchers to literal madmen checks out for 40k. Indeed it does. Indeed it does. Thank you for the shout out, Artie, on your Discord. Just now saw the notification for that. Hi, anyone from Artie's Discord. Are you mad? Yes, you qualify for the grenade launcher. They are quite mad. So yeah, we have 5 here. I have 5 more to go. Unless I want to taper them down and just make them some regular intercessors. But these guys, the Angels of Sorrow, are mostly swordsmen. Oh, I say mostly. I want them to have a sword base, but they're still codex compliant, so they can only have so many assault intercessors. It's complicated. I want more close combat than I want ranged combat, so I decided to just go Death Company. And I know Death Company intercessors aren't that great in the meta. I would have been better off going assault intercessors or assault intercessors with jump packs. But I didn't. All right. So, there's our showcase. Faceplant, you only need another 35 subs before we do our next game. I'm aware. For some reason, it's been climbing this week, and I haven't uploaded anything. Here we're looking at the grenade launcher for Mad Men thing backwards. They're too mad for the Inferno Cannons, Land Raiders, etc. All they get is grenade launchers. Oh, you know how terrifying that would be? To give the raging giant men nothing but grenade launchers. That's terrifying. I don't know if the Imperium's ready for that. Who am I kidding? The Imperium's ready for anything. So yeah, we are at 35 more subs until Ranklad and I have to play a 1,000-point game. Maybe 1,500 by then. We'll see. Depends on how things go. Yeah, and it better be within the next 4 weeks because I'm getting into crunch time and I'm going to have 0 availability. Unless we wait to play the game until November, which I'd rather not do, but it's a whole group of just Demon Man from TF2. Heavy weapons guy. Alright, so here's the request I have. We're probably not going to finish them tonight, but we'll get as close as we can. I have 2 models in front of me, both of which need to be done, like all the others that are standing over there. The first I will present is Veteran Sergeant Vareldis. Veteran Sergeant of 9th Squad of the 3rd Company of the Angels of Sorrow. One of only 2 sergeants, or one of only 2 Angels of Sorrow to serve in the Death Watch. and he has now come back to his home chapter to serve as a veteran sergeant in the 3rd Company. So we can paint him. Or, alternatively, we have Captain Godoon, captain of the 3rd Company, with a jump pack. And the Death Company just started screaming in Scottish about Horus and his eye. You know, shit's gonna go. You like this pose? It is a cool pose. It's the standard cross grip, drawing the knife for the Infernus squad. But on his right arm, I gave him a pistol, a auto bolter, and the Death Watch pauldron. And he's a sergeant. So yeah, he has the auto bolter and the Pyre Blaster and a pistol. So he is stacked. It's a terrifying thought. It's glorious. Vote Veteran Sergeant is an unnecessary amount of guns, which means he's my choice. Fair enough. So the captain will be placed in reserves for another time. Sorry, Captain. All right. It has been a while since I painted any Angels of Sorrow with the Wraithbone primer. So we're going to see how this goes. I need to start with the innermost parts. So I'm going to do all of the joints in black. And I have to be extra careful not to get any on the torso. Yeah. Because that's got to be straight Imperial Fist. Considering what's in 40k, it's a necessary amount of guns. It may be a necessary amount of guns, but it is not an adequate amount of guns. Because can you ever really have too many guns? I feel like usually you're just short an amount of guns. Alright, so the leg joints, it doesn't really matter. Because they're going to be coated in silver. Which is a base color. So I can bleed out a little bit on that. What's my Legion? These are the Angels of Sorrow. They're a homebrew of mine. They are a Lamenter's successor, which vicariously makes them Blood Angels. By the way, hi, I'm Ghost. Thank you for joining. I can see the point. Every character in 40k has one gun too few. Yes, that is quite fair. No one seems to be adequately armed in the Warhammer universe. Or Lamenters. Yes, or Lamenters. They are indeed my favorite chapter. And I wanted to make my own homebrew. We do a lot of homebrew here on the channel. So that's kind of where they came from. Synod had their first game Monday, lost to Chaos Knights. Oh man, I was going to ask you about that. What kind of beef did they have with the Knights? Was that the Crusade game you were talking about? Or was that different? Lights a tad bright. Can fix that. I also repositioned the light and forgot to position it back. See if that helps. Maybe. Maybe not. Hang on. Lighting is a thing I've never... Oh, not off. Lighting is a thing I don't usually have to worry about that much. How's that? A little better. I did have him kind of close. The definition's lost. Do I play Horus Heresy? I do not, but I collect a lot of Horus Heresy models because I think they're cool, and I like using them in 40k. The majority of my CSM back there are Horus Heresy models. Mark III in particular. They needed to prove they're more chaosier. Wasn't Crusade, just a regular 1k game to teach the returning player the new edition. Fair. It's better, though Brightly Prime models are a pain without the benefit of post-production. Yeah, I don't have that luxury. I've been trying to figure out the best way to potentially take bits from my streams. Be careful here. This black thinned down so much it almost looks like a contrast. Take bits from my streams and make shorts out of them. But I haven't figured out how to do that successfully without losing a lot of definition. Love the Mark III. Yeah, the Mark III. Mark III's cool. I don't know if or when I'm ever going to get any Mark II. Unfortunately, they're the new Mark III, and I prefer the old Mark III. Well, let me take that back. I like the new Mark III from the neck down. I don't like the new Mark III helmets. I like the chunkier helmets. What software do I stream on? I'm using Streamlabs. I used to use OBS, but it started causing a lot of issues that I didn't have the time or energy to deal with. So I stopped. And I went over to Streamlabs. Unfortunately, there's a lot of paywalls in Streamlabs, which isn't ideal, but... And I'm poor, so I don't really use a whole lot. I record the streams when I stream, then try to clip them from that, if there's anything decent. Yeah, I would do that. I'm just afraid that I would lose some of the resolution if I were to make it into short form, because I know my camera isn't the highest quality, and I know it would get even worse if I shrunk it down to short form. Be extra careful back here. Because I do not want to overlap. Only way to know is to try. That's true. I could definitely try. My hardest part is finding parts that I want to condense. Like finding those clips. I appreciate that YouTube has the clip feature now that you can use to your advantage. That's what one of my shorts was from one of our reaction videos. I don't know if I can squeeze in there. That's gonna be tight. I feel like a sub-assembly should have been done. You know what? If I make a mistake, I have another pot of Wraithbone over here. I could just go over it. It may just be really light in the back. Streamlabs lets you record the stream. Yeah, I know they do. But YouTube has also integrated the clips feature, so you can go in and you can like select different sections of the video and then put them into short form. So like that's what I did for the reaction video, was I just took a clip of your face and a clip of my face and I just put them over top of each other. I was just experimenting. I wasn't expecting it to perform at all. And it didn't. Alright, one more little crack here. I think that's all I'm going to be able to get. It's fine. Totally fine. Fine. Yeah, so if you go into your video, let's see if I can find it. And you just go to the clip section, it'll let you do that. Streamlabs Way 1 gives more control over quality. It's worth the extra effort in my experience. Oh, the Dawn of War stuff. I haven't started on it yet because I haven't had time. But the next video that will be coming, when I get it done, will be a Dawn of War reaction. Just be forewarned that there's very little discussion about the actual trailers. Most of it is just me dumping lore. Which is what I do most of the time anyway. So that is to no one's surprise. Yeah, it really does not like to focus on the white. Hi, Wazzy. We are painting my homebrew, the Angels of Sorrow, who are a Lamenter successor, and vicariously making them a Blood Angel successor. Alright, so now we go on to the silver. So for the base, I use Vallejo Natural Steel. How are you this evening? Or if it's evening where you are. They even sadder than the Lamenters? Kinda. They don't as often run in the vein of sadness and depression as they do anxiety. They have an innate desire to please the Imperium at any cost, so as not to suffer the same way that the Lamenters did for their Penitent Crusade. They feel like they're constantly being watched. Kind of like Dark Angels, and they just don't want to mess up. Their war cry is reconcile the sins of our forebears. How much money do I have to pay for you to do a Dawn of War Unification mod skirmish game on live stream with your patrons? Ooh, how much money? I don't know. I don't have the mod pack. That's a good question. It also means I have to make time to actually play a game. Let's see, how many patrons are we at now? 3? Oh, by the way, thank you, Melodus, for upping yourself. Listening. Love that you have all this fleshed out. Do you have a custom emblem for them? It is the bleeding heart of the Lamenters, but it's on a field of silver instead of the checkerboard, because I have no desire to paint the checkerboard. Also, I want to kind of harken back to the fact that they are Lamenters, and they also have a lot of Blood Angel heraldry with the teardrops and such. I want to play said mod, but for some reason it crashes every time. I know nothing about it. This is new to me. It's an RTS, so I know Raincloud would be in. Now I have to set a price. I'll have to think about that. How much money? Actually, instead of a monetary value, let's place it at a number of patrons. Let's say if I were to get a realistic number. Let's see, we're at 3. If we can boost those 3 patrons to 5. That seems doable, right? And that is not you guys making alternate accounts. Although it would be your money anyway, so it wouldn't matter. Let's say 5 patrons, and we'll give it a shot. Also, for anyone new to the channel, we have a 200 sub goal at the moment where Raincloud and I will be playing 1,000, maybe 1,500 point game of 10th edition. Because neither of us know anything about the tabletop. We played Kill Team at 100 subs, and that was a fun time. I had fun. I don't know if he had fun. And preferably it be within the next 4 weeks or so. Because after said 4 weeks, I'm going to be unavailable for about 6 weeks. This better get posted on the Discord. It will. Thanks, Melodus, by the way. Mod is so good, unironically one of the best RTS experiences behind modded Empire at War and Age of Empires 2. Well, you're already speaking Raincloud's language. I know that for a fact. Starting 1,000-point army because locals only play that in 2,000 points. Fair enough. I don't have 2,000 points of anything yet. The closest I have are my CSM, which are about 50 or 1,500. I think it was 1,550 last I checked. I also have some Legends units in there, or a Legends unit with my Contemptor Dread, which I will not be breaking up their band. So the Contemptor Dread is coming, or they don't. Mentioned EAW, now I'm in. See, I told you. You mentioned Raincloud's bread and butter. Bread and butter no one cares about on YouTube, but it's fun anyway. I was never huge into RTSs, so I never really got into it. I do own the first God of War, and I started Battlefleet Gothic not that long ago, because I had never played it, and it was fun. I made it through the tutorial in the first mission relatively unscathed. Really gives the vibe for the Navis Imperialis, which I like. So many tech issues last time. Yeah, I wasn't around to watch that. Was it audio issues or like PC issues? Because if it's PC issues, I can't help with that. Boy. I don't have the voice for it. You know, I was reminded today. I don't know why I had totally forgotten this fun tidbit, but Christopher Judge played 4 orcs. 4 of the main orcs in Lord of the Rings. Both. Read it, Frodo. Sorry, I'm trying not to make a mess in all these nooks. The downside of giving him so many guns is you can't paint around all of them. Well. It's a messy, but it's not anything that we can't deal with. Also, I have confirmation that my next big Warhammer purchase, as I stated last week, will be Vashtor. Because of the lore implications that we discussed last stream. Vashtor will be patroning. Patroning? He'll be the gun dealer for the Fervent Storm during the Alperan War. And what better way to depict that than getting his model? That and his model is incredible, and I really want it. And then we will have way more than 1,500 points. So then, all that'll be left to do is buy a Great Unclean One, and then the army will be set for 2,000 points. And then I have to get the Angels of Sar to catch up. Legs should not be taking this long. And yet here we are. Fingers crossed that I don't have any tech issues. Because I haven't had my PC on all week. We're good. Sweet, sweet. Okay. Aside from a few audio issues starting out, seems good. It was not good in the beginning. I had no audio because my phantom power was turned off. But at least I didn't go the whole stream without realizing it. Because nobody told me that has happened before. If anyone was wondering. I have met such a fate. And that stream did not perform very well at all. Gotta hit the hay. It's been good hanging with you. See you on the flip side. See you later, Artie. Thanks for joining. I'll be looking forward to that OSL. Multitasking, trying to grind some Space Marine 2 while watching. You're playing Space Marine 2 without me? It's not going good for my life expectancy. Are you speaking as a Space Marine? Also, did you pick any actual chapter colors? Just had 2 back-to-back phone calls. Yeah, it's alright. I won't hold it against you. Much. People should know that I am the most important person in the world. And whoever is not paying attention to me should not be paying attention to anything else at all. Yes, I'm a sadist. What of it? Be a narcissist. Possibly a sadist, too. If anybody has anything they're working on and they'd like to share it in the Discord, I would be more than happy to look at it. We have places over there for stuff like that in general conversation. Things of that nature generally take place over there. It's been a little quiet here recently, but that's because we all have lives beyond Warhammer, which is a travesty in and of itself. And we just choose not to acknowledge it. I would say the Ultimate Guide to Warhammer book is amazing. Has great reference pictures to literally hundreds of models, plus a good chunk of lore. Well, there you go. You're set. I've been leafing through the 9th edition codex since I got it for like $5. And I have been loving it. Because there's like actual stuff to read in it as opposed to the 10th edition codex. Also read some more of the Night Lords last night, finally. Because I haven't had time for that. Still a great book. I should have painted these guns. What am I doing? It's fine. I'll go back and do it after I do the wash and dry brush. I'm not super far into the first book, but I'm in the part where they're meeting Abaddon in the on the Penal World. Which, Raincloud, I sent you a bunch of stuff. And I expect a lot of research to be had. I also sent you a Voldemort video, which is like top tier lore. So you can't have any excuses after watching that. Does it cover all of the factions, Rushtiv? Like all the playable factions? I assume it would. Also, what is this Bloodravens game, like board game, that I've seen that's available at Barnes & Noble? Because I do have a Barnes & Noble relatively close. Yes, all of them, plus vehicles and equipment. That's sick. Getting my pockets run by 2 Hellbrutes. Well, you're supposed to be researching the Penal Legion. Can send some pictures in the Discord if you like. Sure. Go ahead. I would not be opposed. Get all the fingies. That's part of the strap. Alright, and he is a veteran sergeant, which means that his helmet will be painted silver. Paint is way too thin. Any faction requests? Not off the top of my head. Raincloud, do you have any faction requests? If you say Eldar, I swear. He's been pestering me with Eldar. I'm also trying to convince him to get into Necrons, because he's very intrigued by the Necrons. Okay, Raincloud once it works. Eldar makes faceplant go burr. I hate you. We cannot be friends. Except you're the only one nearby that I can force to play Warhammer with me. Floating pyramid tank look cool, you gotta admit. It does look cool. Can't deny that. And the Necrons are actually relatively well fleshed out. And they have great books from what I hear. I've only read Infinite and Divine. But if I were to read Twice Dead King, I'm sure it would be a good book. Sorry, I had to beverage myself. All right. We are not ready for the wash. We gotta do the inside of the pauldron still. And that pauldron. The only problem I have with Vallejo paints is they constantly bubble. It's bad. I'm a fan. Sorry, I'm looking at your video, Rushtiv. If anyone wants to see Rushtiv's video, go look in the book club channel in my Discord, where he is flipping through the orc section of the Ultimate Guide to Warhammer. Orcs are just fun. The only time you have to take them serious is when they're trying to kill you. because it's super close quarters in here, and I don't want to get any on the Wraith Bone. Also, if anyone missed what I was speaking about earlier, I was listening to the Paint Perspective podcast. Today's episode, I believe it was today's, with Black Star Minis. And it was really encouraging because he's still new to the hobby. He said he's been in for like 10 months. But his Instagram has exploded. And he was talking a lot about how the Warhammer community and the community we have is so positive and uplifting to everyone in the hobby. It's insane. And he goes around to all these conventions because he lives in the UK. I don't have that option because, you know, we really don't have that many Warhammer conventions, which is mildly upsetting. At least near me, anyway. But it really made me thankful for you guys who are here and the conversations we can have just about the hobby and the lore and the world, our homebrew. Because I'm not going to lie, I was kind of getting to the point where I was like, it isn't even worth it anymore. But he gave me a new perspective, and I DM'd him and I thanked him on Instagram. And we had a cool little brief conversation. So, go listen to Paint Perspective. Also, Luton was on last week, and that was good too. If anyone wants any painting advice from the lore master. But yeah, it was encouraging for me. Because I've kind of been in a place where I can't really get stuff painted as much as I want to, which means I can't get content out as much as I want to. I was debating whether or not I should even continue it, but I don't want to leave you guys high and dry because I really like us. I feel like we got a cool group. Okay. We are ready for the wash. Agrax Earthshade. Also, I have a question. What is your favorite washes for skin tone? Because I have Agrax and I have Seraphim Sepia, and I feel like I should get some Reikland Flesh Shade. I haven't really landed in a place that I like yet. Most of the time the wash just gets used as a glaze anyway. I haven't painted enough to tell you. I haven't painted any official models yet. There's no better time. I feel like we are the group to ask advice from. I can't give intelligent advice, but I can give experienced advice from what little experience I have. I've been doing this for... I've been into Warhammer since August of 2023. So 2 years, almost exactly. But I didn't get to start painting until the end of September. And that's when it really started taking off. For me. So I've got almost a couple years under my belt of painting. I'm not as experimental as I should be. Trying new methods and techniques. I can do base coat, wash, dry brush, and I can do stippling. I do a lot of stippling on special stuff. And that's about the extent of it. I use a lot of stippling for like OSL and like cool gradient effects on armor. But a lot of what I know just comes from doing. In the very beginning, I was one of those people who just watched tutorials nonstop. And then I just kind of got to the point where I was like, I should really just try it. So I did. And it was terrible. And I was awful. But then I kept doing it. And it wasn't so bad. And I got better. And I got better paints. And I started using washes and things just looked good. To be honest, I've avoided painting for 2 reasons. Mainly because I cannot settle on a paint scheme. But also because I know they're going to look bad and I don't want bad looking models. Well, there's a way out of that. 90% isopropyl alcohol. That's what I did with my very first models ever. I hated their scheme so much that I just wanted to change it. So the Terminus Knights, the brown and blue guys who are fighting in our crusade that we are working on, they used to be black and green. So like entirely black, dry brush gray and dry brush silver. And then they had green pauldron trim and like a green knee plate and a green faceplate. And it was okay. But I got to the point where I was like, it's too plain. Like I got to that level in my painting that I just didn't want to try it. Or I didn't want to settle with that. So I kind of got out of that one. Hi, wife. Maladus is telling me that I have to game with him. But I told him he has to give me money first. I'll paint my box of sisters, first models I ever got, as first models because I won't use them and I can practice with all of them. There you go. And you can find different techniques for different textures that you like, different ways to paint leathers and armor, things of that nature. The absolute best thing that I ever discovered when painting was how to use washes. And I'm still not great at it. I will never claim to be great at anything Warhammer related. But washes are like the icing on a cake for any model, because it brings out every single little bit of definition. And I couldn't ask for anything better. Came with me too. I wiped some kind of salty. My throat hurts. I've been talking a lot. I'm allowed to be salty. I will look at that mod later, Malithus. See what we can get. If we get 5 patrons by then. I would stop. But I can't because I don't know how it happened. I kind of woke up with it and went to work all day with it, and now it just won't go away. I promise, eventually we're going to get to the yellows. Should have painted these guns too. It's fine. It's fine. I can just go over them at a later time. Okay. Got the upper half. Am I secretly a Swiftie? Absolutely not. Quite the opposite. Quite anti-Swiftie. A Slowie, even. People can boo me for that. I'm not proud of that. Insert SpongeBob meme. Oh, brother, this guy stinks. Didn't you hear she has a new album coming out? I don't care. It is quite impossible for me to be able to care any less. Now, if I Prevail were to do another cover of her like they did, what was that, 10 years ago? Then I would be slightly more intrigued. But that's not going to happen because Brian isn't part of the band anymore. That's the main reason. What if she liked Warhammer? Then you would be replaced, and she would become my waifu. But we all know that that's statistically impossible because Warhammer waifus don't exist. You can have her. Well, I don't want her. Let me rephrase. Statistically speaking, Warhammer waifus do exist, but not outside of the Warhammer universe. Exhibit A, Latara Sarin. Just putting that out there. The woman is an honorary world eater. The fact that no one is commenting on that means they either don't know who she is or they don't care. What's going on in people's non-Warhammer lives? Any other fun nerd stuff going on besides the greatest franchise to ever exist? I don't like Taylor Swift, mostly because my partner's named Taylor and she hates Taylor Swift. Fair. That is a fair statement. Honestly, I think it's just because the hype died down after the Super Bowl, and nobody really cares who she is anymore. I will try and bring her to the grim dark side. Then you will be one of the fortunate ones of us to have your very own pocket Warhammer waifu. Sorry this is taking so long. I'm just trying to be very precise. It's also Artie's fault for making me pick a model that has a lot of tight nooks and crannies. So, yeah, back on the short story talk. As soon as I get to a place where I'm happy with it, I will put it somewhere in the Discord. Don't know where. That is still to be determined. But it is something that I'm slowly working on. I've kind of been in a creative writing mood recently. I am also trying to work on my DM brain a little bit and write a one-shot for the Marvel Multiverse TTRPG, which is Marvel Superheroes. I have yet to play it. I've been watching a lot of stuff on it, and I own the core rules. And I am a little bit of a Marvel nerd. A little bit. Not New Marvel. New Marvel can suck it. But anything like pre-2018, pre-Endgame, pretty much. And that goes for the comics and cartoons and everything. I'm kind of there for it. My only problem is I can't find people who want to play it. So I've been reverting back to the one thing that never fails me, and that's Warhammer. Alright, did we get everything? There's one little spot I see. Okay. think we're ready for the dry brush. Before that, though, I need some water. So, I will be right back while I go get some. Alright, I'm back. Just had a catastrophically bad airbrushing session. Black went fine. Tried to do the bone white and yellow. The layers didn't dry in time. It splattered the initial layers, ruined it. Ugh. How you fix that? Are you gonna strip it? I think that's about all a guy can do. Gotta be really careful not to get any on the wraith bone. So I gotta put contrast on that. don't really feel like fixing it. This brush is probably too big for what I'm doing, but it's fine. Everything's fine. There's some weird texture, which is a problem. Yeah, that's not a good thing. That's why I'm afraid to use airbrushes, because I know I would mess it up. That doesn't look too bad. Might be able to call it the damage is in the Discord. Uh-oh. I'm scared. Oh. That is gravely disappointing. Those Marines look cool though. Oof. I don't know. That sucks. Okay. Go ahead and do the... No, we'll do all the inside bits first. So we'll go ahead and put on the Imperial Fist. Do any cover-ups from there? This is the only contrast paint I own, but I love it. See how it dries, and then if it's still looking rough, I'll dunk it in ISO and get back to do it by hand. I mean, that's what I would do. Look at how nice that lays. Oh, it's so good. By far one of my favorite paints that I own. I bought the speed paints just before the 2.0 release. Have problems with drying time and reactivation, which sucks. Yeah, I've thought about getting into speed paints, especially for like orcs. so you can knock out a bunch in a good session. I haven't committed because kind of pricey to buy the boxes. Because from what I've seen, you can't even buy them individually. I think my LGS has them for individual sale, but they may have just broken open a few boxes. What does a bottle go for? Because what's Citadel, like $5 a pot? Vallejo is $5, I know that. Or 4 something. Contrast paints just look good no matter what you do. I think army painters are more like 3. That's not bad. with pauldron trim. Okay. And other than the fine details, that's all the base coats. Right now he's starting to look very Emperor size, but he's not. He'll look a lot better once I get the details on him. Oof. That'll warm me out. Stripping this garbage. Yeah, that would make me quite upset, especially with time lost. Let's see. Trying to figure out how much more I can actually do right now. Considering my body's telling me that it's time to stop. My eyes are hurting and my throat hurts, and I am not doing hot. Do you have a local LGS or player base? You don't have much in the way of free time. Still curious? I don't. My closest LGS is about 2 hours away. I'd have to go either 2 hours north or 2 hours south. Because I mean, the actual Warhammer store that I like to go to is 2 hours north. And there's a couple LGSs further south. I don't really like going to those because people who work there just aren't real personable. So I'm kind of stuck here in the middle on my lonesome. Camera's moving. Oh, let's go ahead and paint these black bits. Stuff here. What have I missed? Oh, still here. I got all the base coats done. And we were talking about the lack of the Warhammer community in the area. Because I have to go either 2 hours north or 2 hours south if I want anything. Any interaction with fellow Warhammer nerds. 40 minutes drive to my favorite 3. Since once by me have bad vibes, but 2 hours is real bad. Well, I kind of have Rain Cloud. The problem is we both work. And I have a family. And we live 45 minutes apart. So we don't actually see each other that often. It really is all an illusion. Because people think we're geographically close. But we're not most of the time. Want to do anything Star Wars? We live in the middle of nothingness in nerd culture. Yeah, it's kind of a wasteland. I do have fun conversations when I go to those stores. Like the manager at the Warhammer store that I go to north, he's awesome to talk to. Not so much the one south. There's a few LGSs, but I'm just not really a fan of them. So you're crashing my place. Don't normally get together. Yeah, it's kind of irregular. I did. Local game store doesn't do Warhammer. Feels like they only allow D&D because they have to. Hardly stock any dice and no minis. See, I haven't been in there yet because of that reason. People have told me it's not worth going to. Because they only do like Pokemon and Magic. Yeah, like Pokemon, Magic. I think they do board games too. Fingers and hands hurt. I've typed 6,000 words so far, not including the typing at work for today. Don't envy that. The only time anything like that is rewarding is if you're doing creative writing. Yeah, card stuff. The other money pit. I tried to get into Magic, but the combination of 1, people not wanting to play with me, and 2, me not really wanting to put the money in. And 3, in my opinion, Magic is doing way too many collaborations with universes that don't belong. In my opinion. Well, what do I know? I'm just a lonely nerd from the Midwest. Sounds like a standard lore session there. Could be a lore session. I know you bought the starter pack. But every time we asked you to play, you weren't interested. I don't know. It wasn't as gratifying as Warhammer. Because at least with Warhammer, my favorite part is the creative aspect. Not just the painting, but being able to make something of your own within the world. Hence why I like Homebrew so much. But I've gone on that tangent 100 times per stream. Magic never truly appealed. I like occasionally playing Cube or Limited, but it's either too sweaty or based around obscene combos, so that got me disinterested. Yeah, it's a super competitive scene. The nice thing about Warhammer is you don't have to play the game. Like, there's no gatekeeping in Warhammer. I have yet to meet a single gatekeeper in the Warhammer community. And it's awesome. Because I don't need that kind of negativity in my life. And I think there's a reason because of it. Because if you're going to get into Warhammer, it requires a lot of dedication and knowledge. So I think there is a slight barrier of entry, which means a lot of people are relatively on the same level. Or you can bond over at least one aspect of it. You have the game, you have the lore, and you have the modeling and painting. Like the hobby. Words. And I think you can bond with about anyone over one or all of those 3 things. Speaking of money pits, I will probably be getting some Beastmen for Old World. Yeah, they've never seen it outside of tryhards, telling people what they should or shouldn't run in their army. Yeah, I mean, I've heard a few horror stories online, but I choose to ignore those. But it just seems like overall, everyone in the community is super supportive of what everyone else is doing. And I love it. Because I'm sure if I were to walk into a Warhammer store right now and just started going on about the lore of the Angels of Sorrow right now, someone would sit and listen and be genuinely interested. Or if I were to go in and just ask for a bunch of hobby advice, someone would give and or take. People online always make up BS. IRL has been super chill even amongst the players with very different approaches to the hobby. And that's another thing. Everybody's got their own take, their own interests, their own parts of the universe that appeals to them. Like, for me, it's Space Marines, but that's a lot of people. It's Space Marines. That's kind of what's keeping GW afloat, is Space Marines. And I'm okay with that. Because these Space Marines in particular, I have made 100% my own. I'm going to be starting the Infinite and Divine tonight. Oh, it's so good. Such a good book. My only thing I wish I did differently was that I read the physical copy. I listened to the audiobook. The audiobook was fantastic. I forget the VA's name, but his voice for Trazen, well, and for Orkin too, was spot on. And now I can't think of Trazen speaking any other way, because now I go and watch like the Trazen scene from Battlefleet Gothic. I'm like, that's not what he sounds like. Throws me off. Need to look at something real quick. With those Space Marine sales, you would think they would get some factories in the US, churn out cheaper kits. You would think, but they've figured out how to make the most money. But it also costs them more to ship them over here, so I don't know where the logic lies. think we're good there. I gotta remember how to do that. Okay. That was just gunmetal. I had to double check my previous paint job for a flamer. Someday I'm gonna get that Contemptor primed. It's been so freaking humid. I can't rattle can it because it's just gonna end up being all fuzzy, and I don't want it to be fuzzy. Finally got my blue tack in so I can prime all the weapon choices. Dry brush those whites first. Or blacks. Stick some mid-tone gray on it. Just adding some texture to the shells of the weapons. That looks alright. What's up, Rhino? It's the biggest vehicle I've done. Well, I own 3. I have the Contemptor, I have the Brutalis, and I have the Impulsor. I haven't painted the Impulsor. I haven't painted the Brutalis, or the Contemptor. I have painted the Brutalis. Have I not shown that on stream? I can show it to you guys. Wait. I feel like I've shown it before. It's kind of the Angels of Sorrow centerpiece. It was the first big model I ever attempted. But I'm kind of proud with the way it turned out. I wouldn't look too close because then you can see all the imperfections. But I'm relatively happy with it. It actually looks way better on camera than it does in person. Only one new dreads you haven't done. Well, it's the only one I have done, and I'm really happy with it. The weathering turned out great. Ton of Nuln Oil, ton of wash. I mixed some brown in with the silvers to give it a little more dingy look. Did a bunch of sponging and Nuln Oiling on the yellow. It turned out pretty great. And then I put the 30K banner on it just because I had it and I wanted to try it. But yeah, the Contemptor wouldn't stand a chance against that. Considering it's twice its size. Let's go ahead and do the silver base coats. How's Rhino this evening? And Raincloud has already asked. I haven't started on the video yet because I haven't had time. Also have the exact same Zelda shirt. I've had this Zelda shirt for 12 years and it still fits. And it looks fine. It doesn't have any holes. It's got a couple stains. I realize now the more I stream that I don't have enough nerd shirts. Like, I've got a handful of nerd shirts, but nothing adequate. It's supposed to be black, but I'm painting it silver. I guess it's steel. Just got back from the gala. Oh, that was tonight, wasn't it? Is it a requirement to wear nerd shirts while streaming? No, but any other shirt I would wear would just end up doxing me. And I'm trying to avoid that. And I feel like nerd shirts and plain shirts are the most appropriate. I do have plenty of plain shirts. I like nerd shirts. Where's the best place to buy minis? Why do you ask? I buy most of mine online. But it's a treat whenever I get to go to a game store to go buy some. Usually go through Amazon, but you can get some pretty good deals on eBay, especially for like old models. I like getting old Hammer models. Like, I saw one of the old Demon Princes not that long ago, and I was tempted to grab it. One of the metal ones, because I think it'd just be a cool model to have. anywhere online. I use primarily Amazon and eBay. You can go through the Games Workshop website, but you'll get charged full price. I don't mind either local game stores or official Warhammer stops. See, the nice thing about buying things on Amazon is you get an automatic 15% discount. And they won't do that at Warhammer stores. LGSs will, but we don't have any LGSs nearby. Kind of difficult because I've got 3 guns to paint. I thought about painting some OSL on this thing, but I lack the talent and the willpower, and I don't have an airbrush. So that quickly made my decision. Also don't get the experience of the stores. People can make it worth it. Unfortunately, I have had better experiences at LGS than the official Warhammer shop, but that's just me. Yeah, I had the opposite. I went into an LGS, one of the ones that's close-ish to me, and it was a terrible experience. Because, well, one, they charged me full price, and there were a couple ladies behind the counter who were just complaining about everything. And, like, cussing out customers who had just walked out the door. And I was like, all right, this is too much. So I bought my Possessed and I left. They were not one of the fine examples of Warhammer players I was talking about. But that LGS also did everything else. Magic, D&D, every other board game in existence. I need to paint that belt too when I get around to it. Never been to a Warhammer store. Yeah, it doesn't sound great. Hoping some good people have something nearby. Yeah, my best experiences have been at the Warhammer store. The one north and the one south. LGS are very hit or miss. Can't say there's a definitive good place to buy minis. Online is safe bet overall. But only go to LGS for books because they tend to have new releases in stock. That's true. I've also got quite a few of the ones I have at Barnes & Noble. I also want some of the Penal Legion books. but can't seem to find those in stores anywhere. So probably gonna have to order those. Lucky to have a bunch with very different vibes. Nice part is that one place mainly does Magic, but recently got into 40k. Not many people know about them, so there are a bunch of Christmas boxes up. That's awesome. Only complaints about Warhammer Store, the community near mine is very stereotypical, and the owner really tried to sell you everything. He's nice and makes it a good time. It's just a lot. Yeah, I feel that. Having somebody push that stuff on you can be a bit overwhelming. I was thankful to have the one I did because we had a good 30-minute conversation about what would be a good addition to my CSM. And I told him that I was making an Iron Warriors style army. He was like, just get Abaddon and then kit bash him with Havoc's units or Mauler Fiend bits. So I got the Havoc's kit and I got Abaddon and I made my Chaos Lord. And I haven't been back yet to show him what I did. That was back in March. I doubt I'm going to be able to go here soon. But I'd like to go just show him. A lot of community fits the mold of gross nerd, lots of weird folks. Also use the store as therapy space, complaining about how depressed and lonely they are. It's very disarming. That's unfortunate, because that's not the experience I've had. But there's only been 2 other people in there every time I go in. So, store owner scoffed at me when I said I was magnetizing my Dorn. Said I'll learn. It's easier just to buy more models. Stuff really makes me not vibe with him and vibe with the place. Interesting. But he was really trying to sell you on more models. I was wanting to ask you guys, if you guys have watched them, how are you guys enjoying the Warhammer Noob React series? If you haven't watched them, it's not a big deal. I just wouldn't mind some community feedback. Because I trust you guys and I know you guys will be honest, because the comments aren't really fair most of the time. Positive and negative. Liked it enough to record one with you? You did. And that will be the next one coming up as soon as I get it edited. Like good pacing, the questions are very noob-like, perfect combo. Okay. What if I were to tell you that the next one has almost nothing to do with what's being watched? Because I may or may not just be lore dumping for an hour. Just yapping is fine too. Not sure how the algorithm will take it, but I don't mind. Yeah, I'm not sure about the algorithm either. I also had a thought. What would you guys think if we tried to do one or two of them live at some point? Actually think it fits better live than recorded version. That we can ask you questions live, like being involved. Yeah, and we had talked about that, Rankloud and I. Doing it live. One, it would be a lot less work for me. It's having to go through and edit it. But I could still edit it anyway and then put it up. Put up an edited version. I don't know. We may start doing that as a permanent format. I'm not entirely sure yet. We got to nail down another recording date first. And I got to get the last one done. And I'm also trying to work out a date for the next homebrew review. If I don't do it this month, it'll have to be probably November or December. More likely November. And maybe we'll get a few more submissions. Because your guys were great. I loved going over those. I should have my Ascalons fully fleshed out and my Space Marines done too. Maybe even a Tau Enclave or something as well. That would be sick. I'm really intrigued about these Space Marines. Because I may or may not be looking for a collaborator. Hi, Aldous. We were talking about the Warhammer Noob series and how people are liking it. Particularly since you guys are pretty ingrained in the community and I trust you. And also the possibility of moving to a live format for those. Depends on how hard schoolwork kicks my ass this semester. Fair. I feel that. You just like Space Marines a lot. True. Can't deny. Definitely work on starting that up soon. Yeah, I am kind of a simp for Space Marines. And I can't really nail down a for sure reason as to why. Aside from the fact that they are walking vats of testosterone. But I do like the fact that their lore is so in-depth. And like it actually has emotional repercussions. If I was a betting man, I guess you have another child. Its middle name will be Astartes. Don't tempt me. I would only be allowed to make 50% of that decision. Not even. It's closer to 25. Astartes was the woman's name. Or Erda? That wouldn't go over well. I already know that for 100% fact. Just think about how awesome it would be to have a son named Sanguinius, though. It just breathes something. There was a word in my head and then I lost it. My throat hurts and I'm tired. Also, is this still Dark Tide OST? Yes, it is. Pure honest reaction, I think they might work better as a live stream. Didn't love those videos since it's mostly very off the cuff and seemed unscripted. It was off the cuff. It was unscripted. I may bring that up. And we may shift over to a live format. And that would probably benefit it. And then I can go back and edit it later. Alright. Well, I just finished the base coats, and now all that's left are the washes, and the fine details, and the leathers. I need to do those too. But I think we're going to call it an evening. We got a good start on him. Happy with that. He's going to be the veteran sergeant, so he's going to have the red stripe on the silver helm. Obviously, the live stream is more difficult, but it seemed like you were really stretching the 3 to 4 minutes of footage. It's an audience to inform, to give you more to pull from when making a vid. Yeah, turning a 2 to 3 minute video into a 30-minute long video. It's my last stream that I'll watch in Virginia. Next time I tune in, I'll be in Michigan. Excited to go home. Hey, you'll be closer to me. Yeah, everybody have a great night. Thanks for joining. If you haven't joined the Discord, join the Discord. We have cool places over there to talk about lore, talk about modeling, talk about homebrewing, talk about anything else you can think of. You can support me on Patreon if you liked any of this that we did here this evening. At the $5 tier or higher, you can participate in... oh, wait, no, I lowered it. If you enter my Patreon at all, with any paid membership, you can join me in collaborations. You can read my homebrews, and various other things that are available on there. There's something else I was going to plug. Oh, Instagram. I'm on Instagram. I'm going to try to be posting on there a lot more here in the near future. So, if anyone would like to follow me on there, that would be more than welcome. So, without further ado, keep an eye out for any posts, any videos, anywhere. Find me in the Discord, chatting it up sometimes. And I will see you all next week.